it might be a silly question, but if you're someone and you don't have a tribe and you don't have a direction, you feel lost or you're spiraling, like what is the first step? How do you even begin to find, because friends are hard enough to find, let alone a tribe member. Those are very different things.
Yeah,
So like, what is the first step?
that is a really
Or
great
like,
question.
yeah, or like a program or like
If they're
obviously
wanting
you
that
have a
connection,
great group, but yeah,
yeah, look, there's
what's,
so many organisations now for people to connect with. Again, so many cool things. So it's one of the great thing with social media too. We don't just have retreats. We've got free Facebook groups with men. There's so many things so many things that we have within our company for people to come and connect with other people with. Though, if you're truly wanting and craving connection, like I guess ask yourself, be honest with yourself to begin with. Are you doing everything in your power to find that connection? Because a lot of people will sit at home, and this is the power of accountability too. Because a lot of people will sit at home saying they want connection, but they'll sit on their iPad or PlayStation for 8 hours a day, going, "I wish I had someone to meet," and not actually put in the effort to go do that. So, like, be real with yourself first. Start asking yourself the questions: what am I doing to better myself? What am I doing to get this connection? Am I actually connected to myself?
mhm.
So, honesty and accountability to begin with first up, and then put in the effort. Because I'm going to say that probably 90% of people that aren't having connection with other people aren't actually putting in the effort to get that connection.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think just based off of your videos, and there's something that's really sacred and important of being in a male only space as a man, and I know that that's true for me as a woman. It's because of that polarity, it's almost like you need that space that is just for you guys or just for us to be able to fully express or have someone be able to truly empathize with us.
Mm.
And again, my experience with a lot of men is they have a huge fear around being able to express themselves in front of a woman.
Yeah,
And maybe because they've been around what I would just say is a girl, because I don't think a woman is going to run the other way if you show emotions, like that's an
yeah.
immature female. But maybe they've had bad experiences in the past that have in a weird way created this unconscious bias for them. But I think it's really important for every man to have like a solid male group. And if you don't have one, to just start building that immediately.
I agree wholeheartedly. And then letting yourself be seen and heard in front of those men too. Not have some depth to conversation, be vulnerable, because that's where the strength is. True strength lies in that vulnerability. It's easy to push stuff down. That's the
Hmm.
easy part. It's the tough part to begin with is letting it out, sharing it. Though once you do, it becomes easier. And then one of I guess a point of difference with how we run our retreats is we actually have women come on our retreat as facilitators. It's not the entire time, but during the second day, my wife and one of our other female facilitators come in, because a lot of wounding for men that happen is females. Their
Hmm.
mums. Like there's so many mum and sisters and auntie woundings. So for men to be able to heal properly, they have to have the feminine there. And I found that out because it was during some training that I was doing. They actually brought men's work into the room, and I hadn't experienced that before. Um, and it was a room full of 80 people. I think there was only 10 of us were men, the rest were women. And we had to we didn't have to, but we got to experience that release through that yelling and the roaring. And for me, that was the first moment I ever had felt so free from myself and yet so connected to myself at the same time. And it was that moment where I decided I was going to create the Heartland Warriors in the retreats. Though I did that in front of women,
Hmm.
and they got to receive um, my masculine energy, and they loved it. And there was a point where we received an apology from women, And that just, it wasn't from the people that I felt hurt from in my past, but the feeling of it was there. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, this is going to be part of our retreat. We're going to have women there, and there's going to be an apology on behalf of women that have hurt them in their past. And even though it's not for them, from the people, from the women, they're going to get that and they're going to feel that, because it's going to help them move past that and forgive and grow. So it's a huge part of what we do, and we do the same thing on our women's retreats. The men come in and allow that to happen for the women as well, because for a lot of women, there's no safety in the masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to have two men, myself and one of our facilitators, come in that do sit in their divine masculine, and they get to feel that safety, feel held, feel supported. They soften, they sit in their feminine for probably the first time in a very long time, and they're able
Mm-hmm.
to forgive as well and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really incredible how many wounds can kind of stick around from childhood for a lot of people. So I feel like one of the deepest wounds for a woman to get over is the masculine wound from her father, and the same goes for a young boy, which is the feminine wound of the mother. And for me, I try so hard not to like over nurture or over protect or anything, and let my boys be boys, because
Mm,
you have to recognize they're a different animal than a girl. And I can't expect them to be the perfect little girl, because they are not. So when I put these expectations on them to be quiet and not climb and not roar and not wrestle, like that is the worst thing I could do as a mom. So sometimes it's hard because you want a clean house and sometimes you want it to be quiet, but like, no, I have to honor this very real part of life, which is these two wild little things that, I have to help be the best version of themselves. But I do think for a lot of women, and I see it on playgrounds, I see it at schools, it's like they're taking their boys and they're trying to make them the perfect little girl. And I
yeah,
think that that's where you start to get the shutdown, the emotional shutdown.
yeah,
It's okay, be quiet, be still, don't move, be seen and not heard, right? It's like that's where you almost get this shadow stoicism where of a man where you're like, oh no, he's stoic. It's like, no, he's probably shut down.
yeah. He hasn't been allowed to feel anything.